So first of all, let me just, okay, I gotta get this pop up out of the way. Okay, there we are. All right, so first of all, when you're gonna do any kind of data cleanup, if you're just changing a few fields, not a biggie. But if you're gonna actually do a bunch of changes, best practices, backup, 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 backup. Now, even though your system is doing probably some sort of backup, nightly backup, or maybe multiple times during the day, whatever you've got configured for backups, it's always good to do a backup because think of it, a backup happens, let's say 10 o'clock at night. The next day you're going to work, and so around maybe 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you decide, hey, I'm going to do some data cleanup. It pooches out for whatever reason, something goes sideways. Maybe you updated the wrong things and now you got to go back to a backup. Well, there's been work going on from say 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 when you mess things up. And so we don't want to lose that data. So it's good to back it up at the time you're going to actually do the data cleanup. So let me walk you through that basic thing. On the file drop down menu, and you can click on backup, and you're going to back up database. Now, even though the system does a backup nightly or whenever your administrator has set that up to do the backup, you can back up to your local machine. Now, if you're working in a virtual desktop environment, you can still do that. You can still back it up and just back it up onto the C drive someplace or on your desktop or what have you. But first thing you're going to want to do is click on Browse, and then go and find the location you want to put this in. So we're going to do it on this PC, and let me just scroll down. So I've got to get used to, let's just put it in the, I don't know. Let's just put it in the downloads, the documents folder. We'll put it in the documents folder, and we'll save it there. And you can change the name of the file if you wish. And so once you've done that, now you don't have to include the attachments. If something goes wrong, we can restore the database, and you don't have to restore the attachments because usually the attachments don't get messed up. So it gives a smaller footprint when you just do it without the attachments. If you, we've got some people that have like 40 gigs worth of attachments in their database. So that might take you a couple hours or an hour to back the dang thing up. So I would uncheck that, and it'll warn you that you're not going to back it up, and then just go okay. And then it's going to back up the just the database itself, and in the location that you've asked it to back it up. And once that's done, it'll say backup complete. And now you feel confident that if something goes wrong, you've got a backup that you can pull it in and restore it. We'll be doing another one on restoring the database, but it all depends on how everything is configured. So if you're in a group of say 20 people or 30 people, and it's on the system, and you've got some people looking after that, you're going to want someone else to restore the backup instead of yourself. But if you're a solopreneur, one person, you, then you can restore it yourself. And I will show you how to restore it, not in this live stream, but in another one. And but get a hold of your administrative person, have them restore it if you're in a group environment. And Bob's your uncle. There you go. So again, backup. Now I'm going to go through a couple others. I'm not going to do import on this one because this is a cleanup one. Export. If you're going to do exports out of ACT, I would not do it from here. Well, I guess it depends on what you're exporting and why you're exporting it. So we'll just leave that for another time as well. But where I want to go is, now before we go into edit, I want to cover replace fields, swap field, and copy field. That's what we're going to cover. And we're also going to cover editing in the list view. But before we do that, I want to talk about the fields because this is where all the data gets put. Now, we enter data in fields, we enter data in notes, we enter data in history, we create attachments. So there's a lot of information that's going into this database and populating it. So the key here when it comes to fields, so you've got your contact, your company, your title, is to make sure that you have as much accurate information as possible. And what I mean by that is have in your SOP or your standard operating procedure, who's responsible for keeping the data up to date? Like addresses, for an example. Who's responsible for that? Is it the salesperson? Do you have an admin person that constantly keeps that up? I recommend that you have a salesperson or the person that's managing that record or is responsible for that account to look after it. Because they may know something that you don't as an administrator know, right? And so it's better for them to make a quick change or at least let you know to make a change and go from there. The other thing is we get what we call, and this isn't a great layout to kind of show you this, but we get what we call cross-field population, where you're trying to put information in a field that doesn't belong there. I have seen many times where in let's say the second address. Now, most time when we set it up, we don't put in a second address. But in the second address, they'll put a phone number, another phone number. Or they'll put, contact bill for whatever. Don't put information in a field where it does not belong. So if you could, in your standard operating procedure, make sure that maybe, it looks like my audio is a little high. Sorry about that. If I'm blowing your eardrums out. Make sure that you, in your standard operating procedure, you talk with everybody in your team and make sure everybody's on board. Make sure, you have your address. How do you put your address in? Like a lot of people won't have the address too. So they'll put in, at least in Canada, we'll put 300 comma. In the US, we'll put that comma at the end of the street or end here. So if we were in the US, we'd go Suite 300. So you can do it multiple different ways, but what is the way that you want in your office? Okay, how are you going to manage that? So having some kind of a compliance of this is how we enter addresses in. If there's a field that you don't have and you're wanting to enter information, talk to your administrator and say, hey, look, we could really use this field in ACT. That way we can capture this information, which will help us to do whatever. So make sure that you're entering proper data, and that's really the first part. And we're not going to get into duplication today, but you want to make sure that you mitigate duplication. We will talk about duplication in another live stream, and do a deep dive into duplication and how do you clean that up and everything, but that won't be today. So now that we've talked about some best practices for fields, any questions on that before I move to the next little piece? Nope. Okay, so the next thing what I want to do then is we're going to start off first of all with the list view. Now the list view, this is a really great little piece for a number of reasons, or screen for a number of reasons. First of all, over on your right hand side, you can customize the columns and put anything in the left hand column can be moved over to the right hand column. So for an example, if I didn't want second address, I can take that off, and maybe I want mobile phone or cell phone, what do we call it here, mobile phone in this database. And it's down at the bottom, and I'm just going to move it up. And I'll put it up by the phone, just under the phone extension here, and press OK. And just watch how my screen changes here. Come on. What are you thinking about? Live stream, right? Okay, so we've got, I don't know why this is hanging up. Oh yeah, it made the change. There we are. I just wasn't paying attention. All right, so you can see that we can make the adjustment. And the nice thing is, if you have the ability, and not everybody, and this is an administrative feature, you see how I can export to Excel. This is where I would do any of my exports instead of using the export from here. I would just do it from here, dump it into an Excel spreadsheet. If you have permission. If you don't have permission, if this is grayed out, get a hold of your administrator and see if you can get the approval to have that turned on for you, because it is an option to actually be able to export into Excel if you need access to that. So each one of these columns you can sort, You can see that. I can sort in ascending or descending order. Now, if I wanted to do some cleanup, let's just say, so here's a really good one. Where are these guys located? Okay, they're in the United Kingdom. Okay. I was thinking state there. I'm going Tyne and where? Okay, I'm going, is that wrong? Obviously, that's probably correct. So anyways, so when we want to do some edits to here, there's a number of different ways we can do it. First of all, you can sort and have a look at what you want to change. So if I wanted to change, let's say, find all the ones that have zip codes and that don't have zip codes, let's move that up. And so these ones don't have zip codes. So what I could do is, because they're individual line items, I can go into edit mode here, and then I can go in and type in the zip code for each one of these particular ones. So if this was 987, I'll just put in some random numbers here, and then this one was there, and I don't have address. Let's see, city. I don't have cities in some of these as well. But I can just go in and enter information in. Now, one of the things with using edit mode is making sure when you're finished doing your editing, turn it off. Okay? It is a great little feature. However, you don't want to leave that on. I've found over the years that if you've left that on, when you come to this list, it can get a little glitchy. So turn it on when you're going to use it, make your changes, turn it off when you're finished. And this is really handy if there's random things that you need to change. Like for an example, I need to put in states, or I need to put in the cities, and I can just look at, I know where he's at. He's in da-da-da-da-da. Let's go back into edit mode here. And what it will do also is, if it has drop downs, it'll allow you to access the drop downs. So you could just go in here and just go and enter the information in from the drop down. So anything that has a drop down natively to it, you can just go and add those in. But this is handy for making these small little edits. Can you add a column for emails? Absolutely, you can add a column for emails. So all we have to do is, let's scroll down to email here. Double click. Now you can double click or click on it up here. Be careful, the double arrow moves everything over. You don't want to do that. So you want to just do, I don't even use these arrows. I just double click. That'll move it over, and it'll put it at the bottom. I didn't click it twice. There we are. It should disappear. It should disappear on the left-hand side. And then from here, I can move it up. Let's just put it up above the AMA score here. Move up one. Okay. And there's the email addresses. All right. We'll be getting into, in a future one, we'll be getting into sorting and being able to sift through your database to do some advanced queries. But we're not doing that today. Again, we're just doing data cleanup. And so this is a really handy one. So just remember edit mode. You've got that. It's a really handy little tool to be able to make adjustments. Just remember, turn it off when you're completed, and you're good to go. All right, so that's all I'm going to show you on the edit list. There's a lot of other things we'll cover in the future. I'm trying to keep this live stream to about 30 minutes. If we go a little bit over, that's fine. But I know you guys are busy. You're wrapping up your day here, so and probably getting ready for the weekend. So I don't want to take up a lot of it. And by the way, let me know. I've changed the time. I was doing it at 1 o'clock Mountain, which was 3 o'clock Eastern. I've moved it to 10:30, which would be 12:30 Eastern, because we got lots of good folks in Ontario and Newfoundland. So I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, they're wanting to get out of the office at the end of the day, and I wasn't keeping them there. So does 10:30 Mountain or 11 maybe work for you? This would be 12:30 Eastern, 1 o'clock Eastern. Does that kind of work better for you guys? Just let me know in the comments. I'm just trying to dial in the time that works best for you guys. And I like to keep it on Friday because, well, it's just Casual Friday. All right, so now the next thing I want to go through is doing up here where we have the edit, replace field, swap field, and copy field. Let me explain and let me throw a caution out for these three items. Now, we had a client in Ontario, a car leasing company, that the administrative staff, they were trained on it, and the admin staff went to do some changes. They were changing the province. They wanted to change the province of Ontario, and it actually said Ontario to just ON. Unfortunately, the person didn't do this next step I'm going to show you, and she ended up adjusting everybody across Canada to the province of ON for Ontario. And she got in a lot of trouble because they had a huge database, and to go and clean up each province, it was a lot of work. Anyways, so the next step when you're going to be using these features here, these are called global changes, these replace, swap, and copy field. So if you're going to do some global changes, again, make sure you've backed up first. And then what you're going to do is select, well, what is it you want to change? Make sure you do a lookup. You're not doing it to the whole database. Does that make sense? So make sure you're gonna kind of do a lookup first. So in this case, what we're going to do is, and global changes would be something that's going to be similar for all records, okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to add another field here, and I'm just going to type in, I'm just going to click in here and type I, and that will take me down to ID status. So if you ever want to do a search and maybe you've got lots of fields in there, click in here first and then just press the first letter that you want to go to. So I want to add ID status. I'm going to move ID status up, and I'm going to put it just under contact. That's okay. There we go. We got ID status. So I want to change. I want to change all the employees to staff. Let's try that first. All right. So what I'm going to do is I want to find all the ones that say employee by staff. So I can do it several different ways when I'm doing a search on here. And again, we'll do searching in another time, go into more detail. So you could do a field search, and how that would look is I would pull this record up and I would just right mouse click over employee, go look up ID status, and choose employee. Press OK. And I could bring up those 11 employees that way. That's one way of doing it. So let's just go back, and I'm going to show you one more way here. So if I wanted to pull up all the employees, I can sort by here. And now this takes a little bit longer. So what you would do is scroll down. I like using the fields myself. But then you can just drag those ones there and go look up selected. Actually, we got employee friends, so we're going to take both of those. Look up selected. So there's our 11. So you could do it that way too. Now, changing this. So if this is a lockdown field, if I could just key something in normally, so it all depends on the type of field. I'm going to go and do a edit replace. This is the first one. And I'm going to replace the contents of ID status, and I'm going to change it to staff. Okay? Now remember, I've already done my lookup. I'm doing it to this select group of people. All right? This is really important. You don't want to be in the whole database. Press OK. It's going to warn you. It's going to say, are you sure? Are you sure you want to make these changes? And then you can go, yes. If you're one of those click happy people, and I've seen people do that, and they've sworn that their mouse, there was a breeze and the mouse moved over. No, you don't want to do that. Anyways, here we go. And so you'll see here, see how it's changed everybody to staff. And so when you're doing data cleanup, this can be a real nice thing to have instead of doing them one at a time. I have seen so many people over the years making things adjust one at a time, and then I catch them going, hey, what are you doing? And they're going, oh, I'm making these adjustments. I'm going, oh, there's a better way. All right, so that's replace. Is that helpful? Does that make your life a little bit easier? All right, so let's go back in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in to edit. Now, swap fields. Sometimes people will do an import, and they import, let's say, the phone field into the wrong field, and they want to swap this, okay? And so they want to swap those two fields around. So let's pull up, say, let's just say anybody with a mobile phone should have actually been in the regular phone number. So I just want to swap them. We'll just say these ones here were done by mistake, okay? So I'm just going to pull up the mobile phone ones. And how many do we have? We probably got a slew of them. Mobile phone. All right, let's move to the top. All right, so I'm going to grab the first one, and I'm just going to drag down and then stop it right here. And then we're going to look up selected. All right, so we got 63 that we did an import. We got the fields messed up. We got the cell phone in the phone field and the phone field in the cell phone or the mobile phone field, and we want to swap them. So now what we would do is we'd go into Edit, Swap Field, and we're going to swap mobile phone with phone. Press the P here, scroll down, and the phone field. Again, make sure you've done your lookup. You're doing the right group of people. Press OK. And now watch, you'll see these switch back and forth here. Wow, it did it that fast. My goodness. It happened so fast I didn't even see it. So that's how easy it is. And then you can swap them back if that's the case. Actually, looks like a lot of them, they put the same number in both fields. Now, the next one is copy field. So now, out of these three, I'll be honest with you, replace field is the one that I use most of the time. That's the one that the requirement is there. The swap field is typically after an import, and an import was done incorrectly, and you don't want to do the import again. That's typically where you want to swap a field. Typically, people aren't keying in the mobile phone in the phone field and vice versa. So that's usually not an issue. Copy field, yeah, I don't use that very much either. But if you need to copy a field, let's add another phone field in here, just to give you an example. And you'd have to come up with, here's alternate phone. We'll use that one. And we'll move that up. All right, so we got alternate phone here. And let's just say we want to copy everything from mobile phone into the alternate phone. It's just that simple. So we've already done our lookup. We have our 63 people, so we're just going to copy it. Now, again, you'll have to find the use case that works for you for this. For me, I honestly, swap field and copy field very rarely use, but here we go anyway. So we're going to take the mobile phone field, and we're going to put that into the alternate phone. And we're just going to copy it. There you go. And you can see how fast that's done that. So that's the really quick, easy of doing some cleanup is do the replace field, do the swap field, and the copy field if necessary. And again, probably the replace field would be the one that you'd use most of the time. If you're doing a late name change, like an ID status, like I did with staff, it could be a number of different things. You've got, whatever province or state that you're in, and they've got it in there in the long form. You want it the short form. Just make sure you do the lookup first of whatever it is you're doing. Make sure you've got that before you go and run this replace field. Any questions on that there, anybody? All right. I think, so we're at the top of the hour. Is there any requests or any questions before, I think I'm going to just kind of hold it there today. Keep it short. Hopefully this has been of benefit to you. Any questions so far, folks? Everybody's quiet. Everybody's quiet. All right. So I think what we'll do, I'm just thinking if there's anything else really quick that I want to show you. I'm going to give you a little tidbit here because I noticed a lot of people lately don't really know this. And I'll cover this again when we get into kind of searches and stuff like that. Can you reverse it if you make a mistake? Yeah, you can. You just do the same thing over again. Now, the thing is, you'd have to, excuse me, is do the opposite of what you just did if you're doing a copy or a swipe. But if you go and change something, yeah, no, you got to pull it back up. So if I the copy or the swap fields, you can actually just flip those back or just delete the whatever you've copied. But it's the replace one that once you've replaced something, and that's why I said do the backup. Once you've done it, you're done. You'll have to go to a backup because it's going to make all those changes. And I should put a caveat to that. It depends on what you've actually changed. And if you've still got the lookup there and you've actually messed something up and you still have a lookup, you haven't gone from that, you possibly could. And again, depends on the field and depends on what you change. So I'll kind of leave it that way. Let's see here. Yes. Yeah. On another session. Oh, by the way, thank you. Thanks, Vincent. Anybody that anything that you would like to see in these live streams, please let me know. Throw it in the comments. I'd like to know more about this or more about that, and then I can prep for that. And even if I've got a specific topic, I can always throw that in if it's something that's short and easy, and you don't have to wait weeks or months for me to get to a specific topic that relates to that. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we can. Yeah, you've got a couple of things here that we can do. Maybe we'll cover that in the next one, and I'll just prep for that so I can show you, Vincent. So thanks for that. Okay. So. One other thing I'm going to show you just before we go, because I notice this with a lot of people. For those who have been using ACT for years and years and years, and there's quite a few of you out there, you got in the habit years ago of going look up from the drop-down menu and then choosing a field from here, from this list, or going other fields, and then actually going choosing from a great big long list here. I want to give you this little tidbit. Any field in ACT can be searchable by just right mouse clicking over the field. So, and it doesn't matter whether it's a memo field. I don't have a memo field in this. Maybe there's one in, I'll just change the layout here to see ACT demo. Let's see if that gives me any or more fields here. There we go. All right, so we do have a checkbox. So any field in here can be by right mouse click. So if I was looking for anybody that didn't have an email address, I could say go look up email address and say does not contain data. That would say give me all the people that don't have an email address. And so we've got 94 people that don't have email addresses in here. You can see there, all blank. So there's really powerful as you're using the database to right mouse click over any field. So key contacts, right mouse click, look up key contact, equals true, or I want to find the ones that aren't key contacts, false. And you have all these operators. I'll be going into more of this searching stuff later, but I just wanted to show you that you can take any field in here, even a memo field. So if I took this, and I just put junk in this trivia, and then I just move down the database, and I right mouse click over at the trivia field and say go look up trivia, and just put in junk, it's going to pull up that one record that I put junk in there. All right. So this is just a little extra because I see a lot of people doing searches the old way. This is way faster, and it's all about productivity. The more things that you can learn that can make your life easier and faster, I definitely want to make sure that we're displaying and showing that information to you. All right, folks. I think that's everything I've got for today. hopefully this has been beneficial to you. Again, subscribe, please. And if you want to get notified, click the bell. And if you like this, if this has been helpful and you like it, click the like button. Again, I'm not monetizing this channel. This channel is just to reach out. But I do want to reach out to as many people as possible that are using the ACT software, and maybe even not even ACT software, because we will be doing interviews coming up here. I planned on them earlier in January. Unfortunately, we put that off until February. Oh, by the way, we're going to be doing our webinars coming up here. Our webinar portal is up and running. We've been testing it out the last week or so, and we're going to be doing a webinar next week to a small group of financial advisors, and invite them in just for specifics, just to make sure that the bandwidth works and that sort of stuff. And in February, look forward to having our new platform where you can register, and it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited. So we're going to be actually doing some deep dives into specific stuff with the ACT software add-ons. We'll be covering a whole bunch of different things. So look forward to that. And what we'll do is we'll see you if there's no other questions. Again, put things in the comments because we'll look at them after the fact. This will be posted, so if there's people who weren't able to attend, this will be posted right after here, and you can go on and watch it whenever you want on the channel. So with having said that, hopefully you have an awesome weekend, and have a great rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next stream. All the best.